Hello everyone, hope you're doing well. In this video, I'm going to talk about what are the different authentication methods, right? So around Microsoft 365 for email authentications, right? And how those authentication methods can be set up and how many records it needs at minimum, right? So I'll just walk you through. So there are different use cases, different requirements that we need to set it up, but definitely as per our requirement and as per needs, we definitely can work on it and make it work, right? So let's go ahead and do that. I will simply share my screen and we can go through it. So just a moment here. All right. So here on the screen, you can see that email authentication methods for Microsoft 365, right? So using DKIM, DMARC, and SPF records, right, for validation, verifications, and authentication, right? So these are the different methods or ways that we can set up with Microsoft 365 tenant, and those would be utilized to make sure the domain is validated, verification is completed, and then the authentication, right? So that emails which are going out and coming in to the environment, those are authenticated appropriately and safe and secure, right? So let's go ahead and start with it. So first is DKIM, right? So what is DKIM? And you can see that what's the purpose of this is, right? So uh, I have just created the slides. Those are with a simple uh, or without any designs, but definitely the main thing is to gain the knowledge and gain the required information about it, right? So DKIM is going to add a digital signature on the emails or overall the domains, right? And which is going to ensure that messages has not been altered during the transit and verifying the sender's domain. So the person who is sending an email from outside the organization, be it any domain, be it Gmail, Outlook, Yahoo, or any xyz.com, abc.com, and any domain that is going to send out an email, then that domain authority should be verified, right? So to verify that, we would need at least a DKIM records to make sure that is verifying, and then to make sure it is also delivering the appropriate emails to our environment, right? So to configure that, we can create multiple DKIM records for different domains, right? So it is specifically on different domain levels, and for each domain, we can have its own DKIM records so that we can rotate those keys as and when needed, right? So this way, we can configure it for each separate domains if we have multiple domains to be added there, or those domains will be used as per it's a requirement. Basically, it totally depends on the business and the use cases, right? And then the what records we need to add. Typically, we can create two CNAME records for each domain to point out DKIM public keys hosted by Microsoft 365, right? So within the Microsoft 365 ecosystem, in short. So this is going to help us to make sure that all the communications is going to come through from external senders that is going to be verified and validated with our domain. And then it is going to be checking up the communication flows, right? So this is all about DKIM. Let's look at the next one, which is DMARC, domain-based message authentication reporting and conformance, right? So what's the purpose about this? So DMARC builds the SPF and DKIM, and it specifies how to handle emails that fails authentication checks and providing reporting mechanisms between SPF and DKIM, right? And to configure that one, definitely we can create a single DMARC test records, TXT records for each domain, and this also records the specifies the policy for handling email that fails with SPF and DKIM checks and where those reports to be sent out, right? So we can define that condition, and then we would be able to make sure the DMARC records are authenticated and verified appropriately as well, because this is something which works hand in hand with SPF and DKIM records, and then it takes it appropriately for validation, verification, and authentication purpose. And the records that we need, one DMARC record per domain is sufficient, but you can add and update the policy and a reporting address there, right? As needed when we wanted to change something, when we wanted to get some settings or customize validations, then we can make those changes as well. So this is one of that capability that we can definitely go ahead and do that, right? And the next is SPF, Sender Policy Framework, right? So what is the purpose of this is, the purpose of this is to, SPF specifies which mail servers are authorized to send emails on behalf of your domain, right? And helping to prevent spoofing, right? So SPF is also very important to reduce the spoofing on domain levels, right? And then it's going to help us to mitigate those situations as needed, right? And to configure it, we can create a single SPF text records for each domain, because it should be a single one and it should have appropriate domains, right? If you are creating parent domain and subdomains, then it is also going to be validated it. So we don't need additional SPF records there, right? And this record lists the IP addresses or host names of the authorized mail servers that we can point it out, right? And even if it is on-premises servers or in the cloud, we automatically get those details, right? And those details can be added in the SPF records. And into the other records which we need is one SPF record per domain is typically enough in this case. And we can update it to include new mail servers as needed as well, if that is the requirement, right? So this way we can definitely make the changes in SPF, Sender Policy Framework records, right? And this is going to help us. So majorly in all the records, DKIM, DMARC, and SPF, we would need text records and CNAME records at minimum, right? And then we can start with. And definitely there are different needs, different requirements. So as per needs and requirements, we can add additional servers as needed, and we can make the changes as appropriate, right? So this is going to be the additional one. And in summary, you can see that we can add multiple CNAME records per domain for DKIM records, right? Or within the DKIM. And then for DMARC, one text record per domain, and SPF, one text records per domain. So that is something we can make use of, right? And you can also work together to provide robust email authentication and protection against spoofing and phishing attacks by using or by adding all of these records successfully and appropriately in the domain and domain registrar, right? So yeah, that is all for this video I wanted to talk about and give you a glimpse about it, right? And do share your thoughts about it. Do share your experiences and what are your experiences, what you have seen, what are the different use cases that you have worked on. And definitely would love to see your feedback and experiences on it. And yeah, that's all for this video. Hope you like it. Please do like, share, and subscribe with your friends, colleagues, and whoever needs to watch and see. And yeah, bye for now.